Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're making maple and bacon popovers. To start this dish, we need to fry up 6 slices of thick cut bacon. And in that small pot at the back, we're going to melt 1/4 cup of unsalted butter. Once that is melted, we are going to take 2 tablespoons and pour it into a separate bowl and set that aside. Once our bacon is done frying, we can pull that out and set that aside to drain. But we're going to use that bacon fat. We're going to add that to the reserved 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and we're going to give this a really good mix. Now this is a popover tin, hence the reason we're making popovers today, because I need to justify me buying this, but you can use a muffin tin for this as well. I like to put it on a baking sheet in case of any spillover. We're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of our butter bacon fat mix to each cup, and then we're going to pop this in the oven and then start preheating the oven with this inside to 425. This is important. Now that our bacon is cooled, we can break this up into small pieces. For our dry ingredients, we need 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and I like to sift this through a strainer to get out any large lumps. We're also going to add 1 teaspoon of kosher salt and just run this through. And that is basically all of our dry ingredients done. In addition, we need 4 room temperature eggs, and room temperature is important for this recipe. This batter is going to be a little lighter than a pancake batter, but a little heavier than a crepe batter. So once the eggs are in, we're going to give this a really good whisk just to start breaking up those yolks. And to get a little arm workout. Once we've beaten up our eggs, we're going to add a couple more ingredients. This is a pretty simple recipe. We're going to add 3/4 cup of whole milk, just pouring that right in. 1/4 cup of good maple syrup. You really want a good maple syrup for this because you're really going to taste this in this popover. And then that 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter that we set aside. We're going to whisk this up until all of the ingredients are well incorporated before we start slowly adding in our flour in increments. We want to do this slowly, just letting that flour hydrate before adding in the next little bit and breaking up any of those air pockets of flour that we might find. So just take your time with this and just add this in small increments. Now this is the last little bit, just whisking that well, and at this point we can switch from our whisk to a spatula. We're going to scrape down the sides and the bottom to make sure all that flour is incorporated. Then we can add in our bacon and give this a really good stir as well. Now we're going to pour this into our very hot muffin or popover pan, so I do recommend transferring this over to a spouted container. Whatever spouted container you have. I have this nice large 4-cup measuring cup, so this is what I'm going to use. And once that's all in there, we're going to go over to the oven, carefully take out our popover or muffin tin. Remember, there's hot butter and hot bacon fat in there, so just be cautious. Then we're going to also carefully pour in our batter to 3/4 of the way full. Now this made 5 popovers. It would probably make about 6 if you're using a muffin tin because it's not as deep. And you're going to notice this is going to bubble and kind of spurt, and this is important because that moisture is going to help these rise up. So once these are all in, we can put this back in the oven on the lower third of your oven. Sorry, I can't speak. And we're going to bake this for 18 to 20 minutes. We also want to make a little drizzle, so to a small bowl, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of maple syrup and 1/2 teaspoon of sriracha, just for that hot honey almost like flavor. Give that a good mix, and that's our drizzle done. Now after 18 to 20 minutes, you are going to be rewarded with this lovely, gorgeous popover. Now they are going to start to deflate, so we're going to brush on a little of our maple sriracha glaze drizzle and then sprinkle with a little flaky salt. And now that this is looking lovely, it's still steamy and hot, and now we can go ahead and give this a taste. the maple really comes through. These are almost custardy on the inside. You get that lovely maple and bacon, and these are absolutely delicious. But there they are, maple and bacon popovers. I really do hope you all try to make these in your home. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really do appreciate it. If you like this video, give it a like. If you loved it, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell because I put out new videos every Thursday. Thank you again, and until next time, happy cooking.